Today we are going to talk about ambient music, that music that decorates Minecraft. You hear it and it doesn't bother you, a music that makes you feel in your comfort zone even if you are not. First, I think it's important to know its origin. Even though ambient music as we know it today originated in the 70s, we have been listening to musicians in the street for centuries, or the king's personal musicians who filled the castles with musical notes. There are many origins of ambient music. Some say it is an evolution of Eric Satie's music, others say it comes from the minimalism of Terry Riley and Philip Glass, but I'm going to focus on Brian Eno. By the way, if you want a video about minimalist music you can tell me on the comments. Brian Peter George St. John Lee Baptist de La Salle Eno, I'm Exhausted, is an English musician, record producer, visual artist, and theorist best known for his pioneering work in ambient music and contributions to rock, pop, and electronica. Our friend Brian Peter George St. John Lee Baptist de La Salle Eno was one day in an airport and heard pop rock music. Then he thought it was not a suitable music for an airport because there were stressed people who had missed their flight. Others hated that they cut their favorite song because of the megaphone ads. There were others who wanted to talk without being interrupted by the music. That's how Brian Eno created the first album of ambient music. Concept of ambient music is very similar to lo-fi hip-hop, a relaxing music, normally composed by loops or a very simple harmony. You can put it at any time of the day and it doesn't bother you. A repetitive and soft drum bass, the worn, low-fidelity sound gives it a very comfortable feel. But you might be wondering, what is the relationship between lo-fi, ambient music and Minecraft? First let's talk a little bit about Minecraft. Daniel Rosenfeld, also known as C418, is a German musician, producer and sound engineer, best known as the composer and sound designer for the soundtrack video game Minecraft. He learned to create music on early versions of Schism Tracker and Ableton Live in the early 2000s, both rudimentary tools at the time. It was his brother, Harry Rosenfeld, who introduced him to music composition through Ableton Live, commenting that even an idiot can successfully create music with it. On TIG Source, Rosenfeld began collaborating with Minecraft creator Marcus Notchperson. Rosenfeld was responsible for the sound effects and music in Person's work-in-progress video game Minecraft. The sound engine in the still young Java game was not very powerful, so Rosenfeld had to be creative in his approach to creating sound effects and music. But C418 and Notch found a problem with the Minecraft music. What they thought from the beginning was a very calm music for your house, music with tension for the caves, but it was impossible to know that it was a house for a player or that it was a cave. If you made a small wooden house, it was more of a house than if you dug a cave and decorated it. What if your house doesn't have any walls? It's not your house anymore? And if you take a block away from your house, the music stops playing? For all those reasons, C418 and Notch decided that the music of the Minecraft would be random. Waiting for just one player to finish his house, when someone finds a diamond, or when a player has been surviving hordes of zombies all night, the Minecraft soundtrack would suddenly sound. The uncertainty this gave them led C418 to choose ambient or minimalist music for the game because you can't suddenly play very tense music if you're at home in silence, or mysterious music when it's daytime building your house. For all those reasons I think they chose the best way to introduce music to the game. Ambient music sounds so calm due to several factors. By having such a simple harmony our brain quickly begins to relate the patterns and that allows it to not be so alert. So its musicality is made with the textures given by the composer or producer. This is very well done by C418 because with only one chord it manages to go somewhere and end up somewhere else. This song he gets an introduction and not in an ending by adding and removing instruments. You can also follow me on my Instagram below. I think that's it. Give a like if you like it and see you soon.